Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be using the July subscription box from Ritzy Dips. I haven't had a chance to use these colors yet, so I thought it would be a good time to do that. So this is this gorgeous solid green. Then the next one is the chunky glitter of the subscription box, which has a whole bunch of different greens, and light green, dark green, chunky glitters. And then the third is the fine glitters, which is SB050, and it's this gorgeous mix of kind of the same colors that's in the chunkier glitter, but fine. And then this is actually going to be a review of Ooh Coco Decals. I'm going to use one of the decals from the sheet at the end here. So most of this is going to be sped up, and I'm actually doing a voiceover, which I normally don't do because we had a lot of stuff going on when I was recording this video. So I just wanted to make sure there was no noise happening in the background for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Modelones 2-in-1 base and top coat for the application. And I'm going to use the Apex method, which is just putting a strip down the middle for the solid color on my thumb and my pinky. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that now, just doing one thin strip down the middle of my thumb, which I just realized was not even in the frame. And then just dipping that into the jar and tapping that off. And that is the one strip down the middle. I'm going to just repeat that process with my pinky, putting that one thin strip down the middle. And I noticed that this liquid was a little runnier this time than it's been when I used it in the past. I'm not sure why. I've only used it 2 other times, but it was not as runny. So I'm just letting that dry off for a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and use the fine glitter on my pointer finger. And I tried to use that method with the fine glitter, but it didn't work out the best, but that's okay because you really don't have to do that with glitters. It's more for solids doing the Apex method. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply the dip liquid again, and then I dip right into that fine glitter, as you can see. So my goal with doing the Apex method was to not make it so thick down by my cuticle line. And it really helped doing it this way. That's one thing I do struggle with when I use dip liquids as opposed to using gel, which I used in the past, is that I feel like I just get a thicker application with dip liquids. So I'm just trying to keep it as thin as possible. And actually in this video, as you'll see at the end, I don't even do my clear top because I don't need to. I just was able to lay the glitters flat, and I was able to lightly file and buff over the solid colors, and nothing got, messed up with that. I was able to just do that and then activate it, and it came out perfectly. So I'm just going ahead now and doing another application of the green. And what I'll do now is speed up this process, and then we will be back before the final look for the decal application. Okay, so this is how I'm looking before the decal application. Everything is filed, buffed, and reshaped. I'm just cutting out my decal here that I'm going to use for my middle finger, and just making sure you cut everything out that doesn't have the white on it. And then I'm just sizing that up to my finger. And then I realized, as you can see, my middle finger is now green, that I needed something underneath the decal just for an easy removal process. So I went ahead and I just added some of that solid green to my middle finger. And then once that was dry, I applied my sticky base coat from Maniology, and I dropped the decal into the water just to let it be able to peel back from the paper. So I'm just taking it out now and putting it onto my lint-free wipes so I can get some of that water off of the decal. And then once that's dried off, you just want to take your jelly stamper. This is just a stamper I had gotten off of Amazon, which I use in all of my stamping and decal videos, and just grab that decal and peel that back away with my tweezers. So here's where I realized I probably should have left it in the water a little bit longer just because it was still a little stiff. So because of that, I did have a hard time getting that excess decal off of the rest of my finger. So I kind of go off frame and I'm working it with my acetone and a brush to try and get it to kind of like melt away, but that took a while. So here's me just trying to do that with my brush dipped in acetone. And normally it should melt away, but like I said, it was still a little too stiff and not wet enough. So that's why it wasn't working. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward to when I have the decal on my nail the correct way and everything is all cleaned up. Okay, so here is where I'm just applying that first layer of the top coat, which is the same formula as what I use for the base. It's a 2-in-1 from Modelones. And I'm leaving that decal finger for last because I just want to make sure it was completely dried before I put the top coat on, which it was, thankfully. So now I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'm going to do the same process again using a finer stroke and just refining my stroke so it's a better application. Okay, this is the final look after the top coat has dried. I'm really loving how this turned out with the decal. I'm going to go ahead and use my Moscow Mule Cuticle Oil by Nail Cocktail Co. just to hydrate up my cuticles per usual. I really like these decals. Like I mentioned, it was just a user error when I didn't let it sit in the water all the way and it wasn't wet enough. But, that happens even though I've done decals many times. Some brands are different than others, and this is my first time using Ooh Coco Decals. So I'll post the link for what I use down below. And I did order some more decals from her, and she did send me some extras. So I will be using them again in future videos. As always, thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a lovely day.